Hi everyone! Welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about a topic that has been on my mind for a while now. Also, I'm in my office, which I'm like hardly ever in here, and for those of you who've been watching me for a while, you're like, oh girl, what is this room? So this be my office. Last night I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, what video do I want to film? And I decided I wanted to talk about how to find your true self and your identity. I want to talk about this topic because I feel like it's really important. A lot of us are constantly changing, yet we don't really have a grasp of who we truly are. And it's very, like, it's just overall a really confusing process. And I'm not making this video saying that I've got it all figured out, because trust me, girl, I am constantly trying to figure out who I am. But I think 2018 was truly a year of self-discovery for me. And I have a few tips that I've learned along the way that I want to share with you. So for those of you who are just like confused and you just feel like you don't know who your true self or your true identity is, I hope that this video will be helpful. These are just my tips. So let's get started on the first one. So the first thing I want to mention is that you have to remember that you're going to constantly grow and evolve. So you can't give yourself too much pressure of who you told yourself you were going to be 5 years ago or 10 years ago. What I found with that is that it just limits myself. It limits me a lot, because now suddenly I'm trying to just stick to a plan versus just evolving and growing with life and taking what life throws at me. And to add on top of that, remember that you're never too old to want new things. In life, I think most of us, we're also taught this in school too. We put like a timeline to our life. We say by 18, I need my driver's license. By 25, I need to be graduated from college. I need to have a solid job. By 30, I need to have a family or whatever. And a lot of us just do this to ourselves naturally, because it's probably society pressuring us, or our families, or just ourselves pressuring ourselves that we need to have like this whole plan. And then you think that, oh, well, if I'm not done with college by 25, I'm so behind, it's too late to start something new. Or maybe at 25, after you graduated from college, you realize like, damn, this is not what I want to do. And you think to yourself, oh my God, I cannot have a career change because I've wasted all this time. I feel like when it comes to education, you never wasted your time, because knowledge is something that you'll always keep with you. So therefore, if right now you're in a crisis where you're about to graduate with your major and you're like, wait, fuck, like this is not what I want to do, I say don't limit yourself. Don't freak yourself out just because you're at a certain age and you think you're too old for change. You're never too old for change. You're gonna have so many different changes in your life. Like, I look at my parents and how they've been in literally so many different industries, and now they're finally figuring out what they really like. Like 10 years ago, they thought that, oh, I wanted to do this. And now 10 years later, they're like, actually, this is not me. So that's a prime, perfect example to show you that you're never too old to start something new. And just really remember that plans are just simply guidelines. They're not your final destination. They're not your final goal. If you are someone that really do need some sort of structure and a plan, you can still have that. I don't want to take that away from you, but just don't pressure yourself too much into thinking like this is the final goal. Your plan should only act as a guideline, and you can always change your plan as you go. Number 2 is don't be afraid to be a follower. So this is something that I struggled with a lot, because I've always thought that in order for me to be something, or that I'm something significant enough, I had to be a leader. But I think what people overlook is that there's a lot of value in being a follower too. You don't always have to be a leader, because that's just not everyone's personality type. I am not a leader by any means. I'm never one to volunteer myself to do something, unless it's something like I'm really passionate about. But growing up in school, I was never one to like raise my hand first and like want to lead. And now even career-wise, I feel like although being a YouTuber, you are, your own boss, I still look to like my manager and like a lot of people for guidance, because I simply am not a leader type of person. You could be a follower if that is your personality type. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to do great things in life. It just means that you're better off being a supporting role of someone else. This, I think a lot of people confuse, and they think that, well, if I am below someone, then I'm always being told what to do and I'm not truly going to do what I enjoy. There's a balance between that. This may be a shitty example, but I'm just gonna use this example. So for example, when you go to the dentist, and most people go to the dentist because they're like, oh, this dentist is reputable, he has whatever degree, blah, blah, blah. But what people don't really realize is that the dentist hardly does anything. It's the dental hygienists that are cleaning your teeth, that are doing the x-rays and doing all the work to give to the dentist in order for the dentist to evaluate what is going on. Yes, in the end, he's making the big call and he knows like more than the dental hygienist. But without the dental hygienist, the dentist wouldn't even be there because he would be having to do all that work, right? So that to me is really important. Like without one, there can't be the other. So it's okay to be a follower or just not that leader position. But if you're doing really good at your position and because of you, you're elevating wherever your workspace is, you're very important and you cannot forget that. With all that being said, I feel like if you do have that leader personality in you and you feel like right now you're not necessarily at that spot in that position that you would like to be in, do not get discouraged because it is very, very important to play the smaller roles before you get to the big role, if that is your ultimate goal. Because if you just jumped from where you are to being a leader, maybe you don't have the experience and people in your workplace or whatever may look down on you and think, well, you don't really know all the in-between like we do. And that process is what's gonna make you that much better at what you're doing. Number 3, this one is like really, really important to me because I feel like more and more because I'm implementing all these things back into my life, I'm really finding out who I am. And that is, look to your interests that you had when you were a child. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a lot of things. I was very open-minded about a lot of different industries because you're just a kid, right? Like you haven't been told no so many times yet. You haven't failed many times yet. So you're just very optimistic about the future. Those were the most purest thoughts you've had, you know, growing up before you were distracted by everything around you. Before all the noise, what did you truly want? What inspired you? When you would watch TV and you would see someone who inspired you, that's a really good place to start if you're feeling lost about who you are and what you want to do. For me, in the last year, I've realized that more and more I'm reverting back to the things that I used to be super passionate about. So this year, I've been doing a lot more like volunteer work at animal shelters, and this just reminds me of what I wanted to do as a kid, like wanting to have a farm and having like a rescue or like a sanctuary. And I feel like because I've kind of found that side of me again, I feel so fulfilled. If there's any way you can like talk to a family member or just like go back down memory lane, you may be able to find some answers there. Number 4 is don't be embarrassed by what you like. I think, you know, depending on where you live, there are things that are more popular, right? There are things that are more like interesting. And maybe what you're super interested in is not what your peers are interested in. Don't feel like you need to suppress that. That's something that I've always done growing up because I always wanted to fit in. Like I told you guys, I was never like brave enough to show who I truly was to people because I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to blend in. I didn't want to stick out because that would just like make me really anxious if like the attention was on me. But what I didn't realize I was doing was that I was suppressing who I truly was and what I truly liked. You don't find yourself in those moments. You don't figure out who you are by not being who you want to be. Does that make sense? Be proud of what you like and don't be afraid to go and share it and embrace it. Just because maybe your peers don't think it's cool, you may attract another group of people that really can resonate and relate with you. Number 5, I think this one is kind of like a no-brainer and I feel like I talk about it all the time, and that is to always be open to try new things, because until you try these new things, you won't know what your interests are. So this one is for those of you who just have no idea what you want in life. I would dive into just looking at all sorts of different sports, all sorts of different jobs, all sorts of different groups. I guess figure out what it is that you enjoy and don't be so discouraged. I think a lot of people that I've met and I've talked to who truly don't know what they want in life, they're so terribly discouraged that they just shut down and then they don't even try to find new things to love. And just know that that is not the answer either. Shutting down and putting yourself down and saying that I'm not good at anything is not good for you. And until you step out and try new things, you just don't know your full potential. Number 6, this one was hard for me as well because I am a very introverted person. I've always been quite introverted growing up, and I never really wanted to speak up because 1, I feel like that will make me the center of attention, and 2, I'm just afraid of people like disapproving of my ideas. But as you get older, you have to remember and know that your voice means a lot, and it means just as much as the person next to you. And if that's how you truly feel, you shouldn't be afraid to speak up. Speaking up goes a really long way. And until you just really voice your opinions, you just don't know, I guess, how valuable your thoughts are too. And when you feel like your thoughts are valued, and when you feel like your thoughts are getting across, you will start to feel empowered. And that really does help you find your true identity. Number 7, I think this one's really important, and that is to ask yourself these 2 questions. Ask yourself, who am I? And then ask yourself, who am I trying to be? Because there's definitely a difference. Some people are really good at just staying in one lane, and like who they are and who they're trying to be is in line and they're in one. But I think majority of us are separated. A lot of times people will try to be someone they're not, because like I've been saying in this video, you want to fit in and you're doing all these different things because you feel like this is what society's doing and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So therefore, if I continue down this path, I'm gonna get where I wanna be. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes that works for people. I don't think there's much I need to like go into it, because obviously it's gonna be different for everyone. Ask yourself these 2 questions and write down your response. And lastly, this one is kind of cheesy, and I feel like this whole video has been very serious. The last point that I want to mention is that you have to practice being you. And this is just kind of tying in everything that I've been talking about in this video. Unless you start practicing being your true self, such as really embracing the music you listen to, talking about the things you like to people, and voicing your opinions, you won't find your true self. So you have to practice every single day. Just like how we have to practice to feel more confident in ourselves, this is the same thing. We have to practice every day in order for us to get closer and closer to our goal. So I hope this video gave you some courage, and I hope that you know that there are people just like you out there in this world, like myself, who struggled with finding my true identity and that are continuing to struggle with it. I hope that you know you are not alone, and it's okay no matter what age you are in life, no matter what stage you are in life. You're never too old to start over. You're never too old to do anything. You can do anything that you set your mind to doing. And as cliche as that sounds, and maybe some people may think you're just too optimistic about life, that is just the way I see life. And I feel like if you just have one life to live, why not be more optimistic about it? So those are my thoughts. I hope this video is helpful to you. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me know if you guys enjoy these videos. And also subscribe if you're new here, or maybe you're not new here, but you just never hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate if you do, so that you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. And I will see you guys in my next one.